Here's something that sounds backwards. A slow 10-minute walk after dinner can lower your blood sugar more effectively than a 30-minute sweaty HIIT session done hours later. It's not about working harder. It's about timing. Today I'm breaking down the actual science of why when you move matters just as much as how hard you move, and how to use this to your advantage. Welcome to Supplement Science Lab. We don't just look at what works. We look at what the research actually says and what timing makes it work better. Let's get into the science of post-meal movement. Microscope Section 1. What happens after you eat? When you eat a meal with carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises as glucose enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas releases insulin to shuttle that glucose into your muscles and fat cells for storage or use. In a healthy, well-regulated body, this process is smooth. But for most people, especially anyone with some degree of insulin resistance, that glucose spike runs higher and clears slower than it should. The bigger and longer that spike, the more insulin your body has to release, and high insulin levels are directly tied to increased fat storage. This is the part most people never think about. It's not just about how many calories you eat, it's about how your body processes them in the hours afterward. Bar chart section 2, the 10-minute study. Here's where it gets interesting. A 2025 randomized trial published in Scientific Reports tested 3 conditions after people drank a glucose solution: sitting still, walking for 10 minutes immediately after, and walking for 30 minutes starting half an hour later. The 10-minute walk group had a significantly lower blood sugar spike. Their peak glucose was measurably lower than the group that just sat. And here's the surprising part. The 10-minute walk performed nearly as well as the 30-minute walk. You didn't need to grind out a long session. You needed to move soon after eating. This matches a broader pattern seen across dozens of studies. Even short walks in that 30 to 120-minute window after a meal blunt the glucose spike that would otherwise trigger a bigger insulin response. Source: Scientific Reports, 2025 randomized crossover trial. 10-minute versus 30-minute post-glucose walking. Person earnings section 3. Why hard cardio doesn't always win here. This is the part that surprises people. You'd think harder exercise burns more, so it must control blood sugar better too. But that's not how your body works in this specific context. Walking is aerobic. Your muscles pull fuel from a mix of glucose, fat, and a bit of protein at a steady, manageable rate. High-intensity exercise like sprinting or heavy HIIT relies almost entirely on glucose for fuel, and it burns through your muscles' stored glucose so fast that Fire section 4, the fat loss connection. So how does this connect to fat loss specifically? It comes back to insulin. Every time you blunt a glucose spike, you blunt the insulin spike that follows it. And insulin is the hormone that tells your body to store fat rather than burn it. Walking after meals doesn't burn a huge number of calories in a moment, but it shifts your body slightly toward a fat-burning state instead of a fat-storing state. Meal after meal, day after day. That's the compounding part nobody talks about. 1 walk does almost nothing. 3 walks a day, after each meal for months, that adds up to a meaningfully different hormonal environment than someone who sits after every meal and does one intense workout in isolation. Direct hit conclusion plus CTA. The takeaway isn't that walking beats every form of exercise. It's that timing matters more than intensity for this specific goal. A short walk at the right moment can do something a harder workout at the wrong moment can't. Try it after your next meal, even just once today, and subscribe to Supplement Science Lab for more science-backed breakdowns like this every week.